Harvard decided to sell off $1 billion in private equity, and then everything falls apart.
Failure is just an appetizer for success.
All right. Well, another week in the billion-dollar game of musical chair. Harvard's just dumped $1 billion in private equity. Jane Street now owns 10% of the equity market like it's monopoly. And Google, they're crushing earnings like they're Formula One. And the rest of us here, still confused by Twitter's X subscription models. And guess who's back in the IPO game? Adam Neumann, the guy who turned WeWork into a $47 billion cautionary tale, right now is back for another one, round 2, with Flow. Because when an IPO disaster didn't do it, let's drown ourselves into another one. Welcome back to Margin Talk. So in this episode, we unpack the wild world of fintech, forex, and financial chaos, like always, with less distraction than a Twitter trend, which called X nowadays, and more sarcasm than a Silicon Valley pitch deck. And today, Harvard's walking away from private equity, Jane Street has its monopoly, and Neumann's aiming for his next IPO, because failure is just a step towards next billion-dollar mistake. Let's dive in, because when crypto, private equity, and memecoins crash, it's like the financial apocalypse, but with snacks. Harvard, yes, Harvard decided to sell off $1 billion in private equity. And no, it's not because they ran out of money. No, let's not kid ourselves, because, it's because private equity right now feels like that 15-year-old bottle of wine that you've ever been told is vintage, but right now you just realized it's just overpriced vinegar. You need to face the reality. They're done with it. Apparently, volatility is a vibe killer. And while the rest of us here wondering if we should retire at 67 or 77, was that even a word? I don't know. Harvard's endowment sitting comfortably in that 1%. It's like the world's most expensive monopoly game, where they are already on the broad mark with hotels. We are stuck. We're still bargaining to buy a Baltic Avenue. Crazy. And then there is Jane Street, a trading firm that just doesn't make money. They're taking over markets, like pasta takeover. In 2024, they racked up $20 billion in revenue and grabbed 10% of the US equity market. Those people who are acting like they're the coolest person in the room? So that's Jane Street right now. And guess what? Well, the stock market is their party, and we're all here hoping to catch the leftovers. And if you think they're slowing down, think again. They're basically collecting everything, every stock, like it's Pokemon. And we were standing here, hoping to catch a rare Charizard. And Jane Street is on the legendary Mewtwo. Interesting. Meanwhile, Google earnings are like that cake in every birthday party that everyone's waiting for it. And when it drops, it's always the best part. After a 5% jump, their stock is out here, flexing like they're just going dancing with the stars. Let's not act shocked, man. Google is like the Titanic of tech. They're too big to sink. And if they hit the iceberg, they just rewrite the rule of the ocean and keep going. So while everyone's out there throwing a pity party over the state of the market, Google's over here playing cha-cha slide like it's 2004. And here comes Adam Neumann, the man who turned a co-working space into a $47 billion house of cards and then decided, why not do it all over again? Well, this time he's got a new company, Flow, and he's looking for another IPO. Let's talk resilience. Let's talk about resilience. You fail big and you try again, right? Because in Neumann's word, failure is just an appetizer for success. So now he's trying to sell us another IPO and calling it Flow. Flow. That's exactly what we're calling it when the water is already under the bridge and you're just trying to stay afloat. Maybe this time, Flow will be the one that works. Or it will just float away. Either way, I'm here for the drama. It's just like watching Shakespeare with more startup and less tragedy. Tragedy. Oh my god, I don't know why I cannot pronounce tragedy. Whatever, you go for it. Okay, let's give a little breather, a little work to your brain. Today's book pick is The Big Short, The Inside Doomsday Machine by Michael Lewis. Yeah, you might want to pick this one up because you're still scratching your head over what happened in 2008. Look, this book is blueprint for when you think everything's fine, but then you realize that you've been drinking from Kool-Aid or drinking Kool-Aid. I don't know, I've never had a Kool-Aid. And then suddenly your portfolio's on fire. Actually, it's perfect for today's episode because if you think that Harvard dumping, private equity or Jane Street is dominating the market is nuts, wait until you see when the experts think everything is fine. And then everything falls apart. Okay, so grab it, take a fucking break, and come back ready to dodge more market landmines. Because let's face it, after reading this, you're going to be less scared when another market crash hits. At least you will know what to call it. All right. Let's wrap it up with Trump's meme coin. And if you thought that this is just another absurd financial blip, you'd be wrong. Trump is offering private dinners with himself for the top buyers of his coin, Trump's dollars. Yes, you heard me. You can buy enough meme coin and then you can get a dinner with former president of United States. This is the ultimate pay to play with the chance of buying influence with the side of mac and cheese. If this isn't financially questionable, I don't know what it is. Meme coins and politics. It's like a combination of whiskey and Diet Coke. Weird. But somehow people are still buying into it, so I'm okay with it. Trump's dollar coin, because who doesn't want to make a financial decision based on a meme? You're not going to keep that in the video, by the way. I'm talking to all of you guys. Harvard's retreat from private equity, and then we got Jane Street's domination, Google's earning flex, and Trump's meme coin. Madness. Another day in the weirdest financial circus that you could imagine. Drop a comment, hit like and subscribe if you still have the stamina to handle this much of financial absurdity. Stay tuned because margin talk is in gear. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more fintech, forex and financial foolishness. Until then, stay sharp, stay smart, and for the love of things, everything, do not buy meme coins.